From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Well, hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen and proudly welcoming you to this Monday's edition of For the People. It's June the 12th. It's 2017, and we got a lot to talk about today. Let's get into it. The lovely Ivanka Trump, Donald Trump's daughter, senior advisor, at least one of them, to the president. I mean, she's right there, got the president's ear. She was on Fox and Friends this morning, and it was just kind of amazing to hear from her and her perspective of just what's going on in Washington, D.C., and her unique perspective, you know, obviously being in that position, being Donald Trump's daughter and seeing Washington. I mean, you know, all she's really known is working for the Trump administration, or I was going to say the Trump organization, now working for the Trump administration, but working side by side with Dad and for Kushner and all these Washington muckety mucks. It's got to be an interesting experience. This is a little of that interview with Ivanka, kind of explaining things and what's going on there and her take on things.
At the White House and throughout the administration, we were incredibly focused on the reason we all went to Washington and what we're fighting for. So last week, while it didn't get the level of headlines, it will ultimately have a much more important impact, was Infrastructure Week, focusing on the commitment to rebuild this country, rebuild rural locations which have fallen into great disrepair, repair our waterways, air traffic control. So there were a series of very important and big and far-reaching initiatives on infrastructure. This coming week is about workforce development. So with all the noise, with all the intensity that of the media coverage and obviously what makes headlines. Ultimately, we're really focused on why the American people elected Donald Trump as their president.
Okay, well, that was the focus and what she's doing, but another part of the interview, and I'm just going to read it here. She said today that she was blindsided by a level of viciousness in Washington since her father assumed the presidency. And you'd have to admit, I mean, seriously, just be honest here. If you're a snowflake, if you're a Democrat, it is vicious out there. We're not just talking about comedians. We're not talking about Shakespeare and that play with assassinating the president there. Thank God that there were some sponsors like Delta Airlines that was smart, but American Express still in it with that New York play. But, you know, just more of this stuff going on, which is unbelievable. And if it was ever the way around where, you know, you reversed polarity, so to speak, and the pendulum swung the other direction for Barack Hussein Obama, and somebody was decapitating the head of Barack Obama or shooting Barack Obama or doing something to that extent, the backlash would be unimaginable. It would be unbelievable. People would be having death threats, all sorts of craziness going on. And let me just say this. I think the right, largely speaking, has been very restrained, extremely restrained during this backlash here, and the hypocrisy, the bigotry that's coming out from the left here, because, you know, they want their rights. They want to be recognized. They want people to tolerate them. And yet they have no tolerance for any conservatives. None. Zero. Zilch. And the insanity still continues. Obviously, people don't even recognize he's not my POTUS. Excuse, then who is he then? If he's not recognized as the president of the United States, and if he's not your president, then please, whatever you do, don't accept any currency from now on. Whoever his Treasury Secretary is, and please vacate the United States immediately. Okay, if he's not your president, you can leave. I mean, they might have a warm, cozy place for you in Kandahar. Okay, I think there's really good specials. One of the airlines holding some one-way special. Pack your bag and enjoy Kandahar, Afghanistan. I'm sure it's very, very nice. Fallujah, Iraq is getting a little bit better there thanks to our troops and the Iraqi Troop Coalition. That's working out very nice. You might want to enjoy a little Iraq this time of year. It's a nice place for you here. But anyway, back to the daughter, close advisor of President Donald Trump. She said she was expecting it to be easy when she was taken by attack by the ferocity. Thought that wasn't expected it to be easy. Okay, here's a... Okay, that's not Ivanka. Ivanka wouldn't say, well, I thought it was going to be easier, just like they said Donald Trump said. I just thought the job would be so easy. No, she did not say that. Basically, she said, it is hard. There's a level of viciousness I was not expecting. I was not expecting the intensity of the experience, but this isn't supposed to be easy. My father and this administration intends to be transformative and want to dig bold, want to do big, bold things. And we're looking to change the status quo. Folks, that's what the election was all about. And so don't get discouraged by numbers or the recent numbers, Quinnipiac, or any of the numbers that you might see online or anything like that. This is the draining of the swamp. This is a process going on right now. There's liberals there's a senator right now. You heard her. She's swearing and blank, Donald Trump and blank this, blank that. Donald Trump hasn't done anything for this country yet. Unemployment's down, all-time low. Employment's up, more jobs, stock markets, history-making numbers. I mean, there's a new sense of optimism in this country like we've not seen in a long, long time. Optimism, that's right, optimism. So they can go off on their tangents, but, the proof is in the numbers. And the numbers is that things are getting better. Healthcare, absolutely would have been nice to have that approved, but all these other witch hunts and things that are going on right now clearly have it has stopped any of these other processes to be able to take place. There's only so much that can take place in one day in Washington with all these hearings that are very consuming. And, of course, the Democrats cannot take any responsibility for it because they think they're completely justified on what they're doing. But still, it has not turned up anything yet. And they're hoping there's got to be something. But we're learning more about the leaker. And James Comey, he's not the Boy Scout we thought that he was. A lot of holes in his testimony, a lot of holes. And then we found out unequivocally that he was a leaker. He admitted it. He leaked it out to the press. And for what? Really? I mean, it's not a nice way to actually go out to the FBI like that at all. Does that show loyalty? He didn't do anything wrong because he admitted that Donald Trump did anything wrong, but he still went to the press. What was that all about? I don't even know if we'll ever really get what it was, other than maybe somebody made a deal with him and promised him something on the other side after he did this. He would have had to known sooner or later what happened, that the leak would have been revealed. I'm just guessing that he was offered something somewhere else and it really just did not matter. And I don't think he particularly really is fond of Donald Trump. He even said that he didn't even really trust him. That's why he had to take notes. Sure, this guy must have been more of a lover of Barack Hussein Obama. I'm just guessing that because he let Hillary off. The Attorney General Loretta Lynch, she was able to pull one over on him. But he didn't know what was happening. It's politics at its greatest. I don't rightly recall. That's Hillary Clinton's greatest line. She doesn't rightly recall. Yeah, okay. By the way, this is kind of hard to believe how time flies. This is a reminder of what happened in Orlando, the Pulse nightclub attack. It's the anniversary is today, by the way. And it's attracted scores and scores of people where there's a perimeter and a fence around the shattered gay nightclub that represents gay America, if you will. But it was a tragedy what took place there at that club. And a lot of people are remembering what took place. I realize that gathering here in this place at this hour is beyond difficult, Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer said during his service this morning. But he said, I also know that the strength you've shown over the past year will carry you through today and in the future. A private service was the start of what would be almost 24 hours of observations to remember the victims who died, as well as the dozens of Pulse patrons who were wounded during that shooting, and it would be followed by another midday service at the nightclub, an evening gathering in the heart of downtown Orlando, and a final music-filled late-night service at the nightclub. So later in the day, church bells throughout the Orlando area were set to ring 49 times at noon. Governor Rick Scott, our governor, ordered U.S. flags around Florida, state that I do this show from each and every day, from Tampa, Florida, will be flown at half-staff, and a giant rainbow flag would be unveiled at the Orange County Government Building. Monday services culminated several days of events amid a turning the grim anniversary into something positive, according to news reports, as a route race was held over the weekend, and 8 gay and lesbian students were awarded $4,900 towards their college studies by a local businessman. Local officials have declared the one-year mark as a day of love and kindness, and they are encouraging residents to volunteer or perform acts of compassion. An exhibit of artwork collected from the memorial site set up around Orlando after the massacre will be shown at the Orange County History Center. Club's owner, Barbara Poma, is developing plans to build a memorial at the Pulse site. I have some thoughts about the Pulse nightclub and the whole gay and lesbian, the LGBTQ deal. I don't want to offend any gay or lesbian or LGBTQ because we're for the people. We're not here to slam anybody that has a particular fondness of one sex over the other. However, as a talk show host, as the former host used to say, but I have a microphone and I'm entitled to my opinion. Thank you very much. Now, there is the conservative point of view, which it's out there, folks. There are those that believe that homosexuality is a sin, and one that is reprimanded in the Bible as being not an unpardonable sin, but a sin. Now, over the years, I would have to say that I have changed some of my thinking, and not to dilute or water down God's word, because I do believe in the traditional family of a man and a woman. The nucleus family, I believe in that. As an evangelical Christian, I grew up that way, I believed that way, I read the Bible that way. However, this is just one amongst many sins that one can commit over a lifetime. And to me, the Bible says not to be judged, or you'll be judged. So I grew up in New York and New Jersey, but New York City and bigger cities, Los Angeles, and worked in Washington, D.C. And, I was friends and still friends with many people that are lesbians and gays, and they're very nice people. Some of you would never know that they're gay because they don't make it a point to say, hey, I'm gay, by the way. Some people, the way they speak might indicate that they are, but a lot of homosexuals, in their homosexuality, again, don't parade it around. So my point is this. Though I understand the Pulse nightclub and what's going on there with the memorials and all, a lot of people died. And it's very sad and very tragic. People are remembering their loved ones. It really rocked the community. It really did. It's right up the road from me. I love going to Disney World. Love going